Hello, Métissagers. How are you doing? It's quite a long time we're not in getting in touch. I know that, but here I am again in this hot summer, here to keep you company and see what's going on with our project. Now, today I would like to talk again about Métissage Sanguinisto because I had the opportunity and the great fortune, let me say that, the great luck to get in touch with a very wonderful team, that is the team of Global Women Network. And I had some conversation with one of their collaborator, that's Cinzia Vera. I was very, very surprised for the kind of approach they had towards me. And this made me feel that our issues and our topics are one of the most important and relevant in this coming future now. So, just to remind you who I am a multidimensional, polymath, multipotentialate entrepreneur with many interests and countless passions. I always like to say that I belong to the tribe of fired up, vibrant Renaissance women, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not programmed to do just one thing in life. Let's say that I was born as a biological anthropologist, but then during the time I became the co-founder and CVO of Dolomites Aggregates Link Nigeria Limited. That's a quarry business company in Nigeria. And now what I'm very proud of is the fact that I'm founder of Métissage Sanguinisto. That is a very huge project, an ambitious project. But starting now with, let's say that it's just an easygoing web mag and community at the moment, based on the principles of emotional intelligence, mentorship, and self-empowering the identity of the mixed and multicultural people's tribe. Just to remind you, because you can go to our blog and see our stories and what we really do, but I would like just to tell you a little bit about us. Métissage Sanguinisto was founded in Italy to celebrate and help the mixed and multicultural people find inspiration and purpose in everyday life. I do believe that each person is capable of finding his or her best life here in the present moment, and I try to provide the spark that moves multicultural people to positive actions and thoughts by leveraging, let's say, on our uniqueness and our capabilities to be a bridge between different cultures, emotions, and mentalities. Being aware that cultural diversity is not exclusively Italian, but it's global. It's a global phenomenon. Métissage Sanguinisto deals with stories, culture, and education of mixed, bi, and multiracial people worldwide in a completely new perspective, detached from that ancient legacy that still needs to see us as erratic, stubborn, and contradictory mestizos without roots or cultural heritage and constantly in identity crisis. Let's say that I created this safety space committed to the search for oneself through discovery, the experience of mixed living, and being a bridge between two or more cultures. Métissage Sanguinisto is a place to share pride, courage, and wisdom, overcoming those uncertainties and convictions that often leads us to a distorted view of ourselves and the world in which we live, and instead investing ourselves in the awareness of containing in one's being a myriad of possibilities. I can also say that my main goal is to raise the awareness of mixed people, both personally and individually, and in communities such as schools and organizations, focusing on the importance of embracing all the cultures to which we belong and try to learn from our stories. We must put effort in trying to understand how our background and our mixed cultures influence the particular way we navigate our daily lives. Me especially, but let's say we, in total, are determined to demonstrate how diversity is the true representation to the world. We want to break down the walls that stand in the way of confrontation and build strong bridges so that it can allow people to cross them safely and with great self-esteem. One of our payoff is the fact that Métissage Sanguin Misto project is created to celebrate the intrinsic value of all human beings, then to equip people with strategies and tools to dismantle all forms of fanaticism, and again to embrace the differences perceived by humanity as aspects to be evaluated, not to fear, and finally to inspire people to respect the love for each other. Now, what it was nice to underline about the conversation I had with the Global Women magazine and the Business Women in London magazine. It's a very nice, it's a very nice conversation we had, and I would like to share this with you people now here because it's very interesting. I had the interview made by Chinsevera, and she introduced me on the magazine, on the newspaper. No, let's say it's a magazine, of course. She said that growing up, I was brought up in an optimistic and biracial family that encouraged me to be open-minded, creative, and challenge the often toxic perceptions of multiracial, racial identities. This equipped me with all the necessary tools I needed to understand just how multidimensional people can be. She is right, indeed. And these are some answers to which I resonated with her. The first question I was asked was the fact that I always describe myself as a multidimensional polymath, multipotentialite entrepreneur. So the question was, can I expand on what this means? Indeed. This statement, I do really love this personal statement because it concerns my real core being. First of all, I am an entrepreneur, equipped with the courage and ability to take risks. I'm gifted with the capacity of innovation, vision, and an open mindset. I have divergent interests and countless passions and embrace them all at once, being a creative and out-of-the-box thinker. I'm a multidimensional because I have my reality focused on multiple dimensions at one time, and that's how I get the best of every single opportunity in my lifetime. I love following my curiosity down those infinite rabbit holes and exploring the intersections during my journey. Embracing my inner wiring leads to a happier and more authentic life. I am also a polymath simply because my knowledge spans a substantial number of subjects. I can juggle different fields of expertise with satisfaction, productivity, creativity, and the ability to solve specific problems. I love moving between different spheres of disciplines, but I seek fundamental connections between those fields as to have a unique insight into each of them. Then I'm a multipotential entrepreneur because, as Emily Wapnick used to say, a multipotentialite is someone with many interests and creative pursuits. Translated in my word, it means I can build and set successful goals with room for all of my passions. I aim for variety, meaning, and fulfillment. To the outside world, it may seem like I'm a sort of jack of all trades who is the master of none, but nothing traveled so far from this idea. In reality, I'm just conveying the concept of the power of cross-pollination, developing diverse disciplines that can fuel creativity and productivity. But I do this by putting ideas in one field to inspire innovations in the other. My lifestyle is the optimal path to creativity because by its very nature, it requires me to be diverse in my experience and my learning. I'm finding more benefits from widening my interests rather than relentlessly pursuing a narrow specialization. So, another question Chintzia made was, she was asking me how my biracial and multicultural identity, as they are an integral part of my work, how important it is that this part of myself has visibility in the world. Well, it's a simple answer. My biracial identity and multicultural background are a great blessing. They are everything to me because they gave me the opportunity to socialize with a broader range of people from different backgrounds. They act as a bridge. I like this word a lot, the bridge, because I feel I'm like a bridge which connects one shore to the other of the sea. I love to say that being multicultural is viewing us as resilient rather than burdened. Having a multicultural background is one of the most amazing qualities to discover in a person. And this because it is loaded with some challenges like having to navigate racial identities. This makes us more adaptable, creative, and open-minded than those who tick in a single box. We are destined to play an important role in the development of our modern society. This is why it's very important for me to give visibility to this part of our biracial, multicultural selves. The part of being a wider circle of influence than most of the monoracial people. Being biracial and multicultural is meant to be a bridge, not a wall. Being multicultural is viewing us as resilient rather than burdened. Theories of identity development propose that multiracial individuals need to integrate their multiple identities in order to develop a stable self. But in spite of bias directed to us, we have notable and unusual powers of resilience, a great ability to switch between racial identities and be easily adaptable to circumstances and different environments, feeling less defined by race than others do. The right visibility is giving us the opportunity to share how we are fulfilled with a sort of open-mindedness and empathy towards other cultures. It gives us the opportunity to share how we achieve a culturally tolerant attitude towards people who have cultural backgrounds that differ from ours. We can easily understand and read other people's feelings and behaviors, be sources of inspiration and creativity that affect our culture and perspectives on ideas. Having the visibility of being multicultural is giving us the opportunity to share these tools and experiences, which helps people understand what it means to navigate between cultures, much like age workers, as the book of Nina Boyd Krebs. It's a very interesting book. I suggest many of you to get a look on it because it's very, very interesting. Then Chintzia asked me again, when did I realize that I had the power to create a community that would give a voice for mixed heritage people? Well, I realized I had the power to create a community like Métissage Sangue Misto when I saw the terms for a real change by visualizing the concepts of race, identity, and culture. It was 2011, when I embodied the feeling that it could be possible to change what the potent, often toxic concept of what race means. I asked myself, what will the perception of race be when all of us will become brown? I tried to find the answers among my fellows, interacting and including also other monocultural experiences. And I had to say that their voices raised and continue to raise many aspects of being biracial. Having a community or network of social support in which one can confide help racial and ethnic minority populations deal with discrimination and the resultant stress that is associated with. Having such a community is particularly important for multiracial people, as they can have difficulty finding a multiracial and multicultural community to identify with. I then got certified as a cultural and diversity mentor to help and support mixed racial background fellows and multiracial youth who were unable to find role models. So she asked me again, what was the main inspiration that led me to create Métissage Sangue Misto web magazine? Well, here there is a very important story. And the truth is that I grew up in a very optimistic and self-confident environment. My parents taught me to be a person who can interact in a world made of multiple personalities and characters. And this equipped me with all the necessary tools to tackle and deal with tips like biases, racism, self-esteem, and handling my emotions. When I confronted other biracial and multicultural people, I found that for the most of them, things weren't matching as how it's supposed to be. When they were kids, their family didn't act as the most crucial influence on the development of their understanding. They didn't have the opportunity to learn what is expected of them in society, nor did they have the chance to figure out how they fit into the world or developed a sense of self-identity with a strong foundation to deal with all the conflicts of life. And then I contacted my fellows, fighting battles and struggling to have a clear vision of their future and more especially their identity. They were deprived of the basic interactions which would have helped them deal with issues. For example, identity formation, building self esteem, emotional perspectives, and intellectual development. Their environment didn't help them face their conflicts and provide the foundations for them to overcome these conflicts. I then read the marvelous book of Dr. Nina Boyle Krebs, Aid Workers, which provides a sound framework and wonderful examples of people and organizations who have stepped out of the mainstream ways of thinking. And I got the final statement that a new reality was possible, and the process of awareness was really important and necessary. I am staunch in the fact that we are all age workers, walking between two worlds. It is compulsory for those who have the acquired experience to share, inspire, and create opportunities that might help in defining formal boundaries and fostering creativity at every level of life. So, I would like to repeat this concept, very important, that it is compulsory for those of us who have acquired experience to share, inspire, and create opportunities. So, from here, I had another good question for me, and it is, how do I incorporate both Nigerian and Italian culture into my business and work ethics? Well, my both Nigerian and Italian culture incorporate the principles of multiculturalism into my business and work ethic. As I said, people who have been deeply socialized in more than one culture are capable to carry with them not only racial variation, also mixed cultural identities and competencies that result from the way in which they experience their status. Both ethnic backgrounds in my work environment create a diverse business culture because it offers many advantages. Globalization and technology revolutionize the way we work, communicate, and the way we live too, leading us into our cultural awareness and knowledge. It's also helped to open our horizons, stretching them far beyond the borders of our countries. This makes the people we interact with become more open and accepting towards ideas and foreign concepts, but it generally ignites a will to learn and discover more than they already know. As a certified mentor, I used to implement some multicultural programs because inclusiveness and diversity aren't mutually exclusive. I believe that my workplace could benefit from a multicultural program that exposes employees to both differences and similarities among colleagues. The result is greater participation for sure, and enthusiasm in all the challenges faced. Tolerance is one of the key points I insert in other kinds of awareness mentorship programs. It's very important to understand what it is, because having tolerant team members, whether in Italy or whether in Nigeria, will not only improve relations amongst each other, but also affect the way they interact with everyone around them, be it managers, colleagues from departments, suppliers, clients, or customers. Tolerance is about accepting that all people are different and goes beyond accepting that. It's about valuing and cherishing it. I also used to form affinity groups within my companies, which are similar than, let's say, smaller groups of employees within one organization. The members of these groups share or have an interest in a particular culture, gender, or sexual orientation, generation, race, or national origin. When I created them, I avoided forming groups that would cause distance or further divisions among employees instead of being supportive and collaborative. Cultural awareness is a key when looking to expand a company into other markets. Again, I encourage people with different ways of thinking and living to join together to solve problems. The different ways of approaching a different situation and going about fixing it, when brought together, can give a space to extremely creative and unique ideas that could not have been thought of in any other way. Taking the best of what each person has to offer and putting them together can create just a kind of super solution that can bring innovative and revolutionary plans, strategies, and ideas to your team and company. And last but not least, I promote events in Italy that incorporate multiculturalism education with workplace competence and success. For instance, programs that focus on multiculturalism concerning awareness and communication to improve workforce collaboration and teamwork. Co-workers who experience communication difficulties due to lack of knowledge or generational differences benefit from learning more about how cultural differences shape the way employees communicate with each other and with customers and clients. Cultural awareness is also a great key when looking to expand a company into other markets. It's important to recognize that cultural habits and customs affect business and the workplace as well. It can be very risky for a company to begin operating in other markets without an active notion that things are most likely done in a different manner. When breaking into other markets, it's essential to have people who will be aware of and willing to adapt to the different lifestyles and habits, and most preferably people who are already knowledgeable about it. So she then asked me again, how has my company, Dolomites Aggregates Link, helped empower communities in Nigeria and beyond? Briefly, the story of my company starts far beyond the last half century, when another company was started by my father in the early 60s. There is a long story going on since then, especially during the Biafran War. Many Biafrans were saved by my father and employed in this company. And in the following years, the company's policy was to empower young talents, to teach them a technical and professional job that could give them the enthusiasm of occupying and investing their lives in something valuable. Dolomite Aggregates Link is mainly reserved to specialized people that have knowledge in mining and quarry issues. My main focus is to empower youth and women in some of my businesses that are affordable to their ability and talents. So at the end, the last question for me was, what does the future hold for my company and community of biracial identities? The future surely holds a lot of surprises in both of my businesses. Sure, in my community of biracial identities, there is already a huge series of one-to-one membership programs, special events, and a particular book dedicated to the mixed youngsters and their ability to be a bridge in an ocean of multicultural experiences. Then at last now, on September, we will have a very nice and interesting guide about how what it means to be parent and parenting youngsters and teens, and especially, and we're talking exclusively of multiracial family for sure, but this can be enlarged also in all other families with particular topics and particular issues. So stay tuned and be sure that on September I will inform you when the guide is out, and you just have a look and feedback me about what you think and what you think is valuable about that guide. Okay, for today it's okay, I'm done, and we see and we hear on our next podcast chapter. Have a very beautiful and nice day, and always be strong. Bye.